Looks like OnePlus is not going to give any special treatment to its Indian audiences after its Oppo merger. Why? Because the OnePlus 10 Pro has already launched in China and we only now have the OnePlus 9RT in our country. Anyway, the phone's here, and for my very first gadget review on Trakin Tech English, I'm going to be reviewing the OnePlus 9RT and comparing it against the Samsung Galaxy S21 FE along the way. If you're here for the first time, we'd love your support. Don't forget to hit that red subscribe button and the bell icon right next to it to get notified whenever we put out an awesome new tech video. And if you like the video, don't forget to hit that like button either. Now, before I start talking about the design of the OnePlus 9RT, I want to talk a little bit about the box contents of the phone. You get a case, a 65-watt charger, Type A to Type C cable, and a bunch of stickers too. Oh yeah, there's also a pre-attached screen protector. In comparison, Samsung only gives you a Type C to Type C cable inside the box. Now, the design of the OnePlus 9RT is very similar to the OnePlus 9 series. You get the same glass sandwich design with Corning's Gorilla Glass 5 on the front and the back. Nothing really extraordinary here. But I do like this unique hacker black color, that's what OnePlus is calling it, which has this starry night look with a glimmery sort of shine on it. It does look very, very attractive. Now, one of the things that you guys will appreciate about the design is that it has a smooth finish and doesn't attract a lot of smudges either. Now, the in-hand feel of the phone is pretty good too, thanks to the curved back. But considering the fact that the Samsung Galaxy S21 FE is actually made of plastic, it's far lighter and therefore more comfortable to hold and use. Moving on, the camera does protrude from the back, making it wobble on a table. Now, as for the ports, you get a standard USB Type-C port with only USB 2.0 speeds. In fact, even the OnePlus 9R had USB 3.1 speeds, alongside which is a speaker grill which works in tandem with the earpiece to work in a stereo speaker setup. Now, the stereo speaker on the OnePlus 9RT definitely sounds very impressive and much louder and fuller in comparison to the Samsung Galaxy S21 FE. In fact, you know what? Here's a side-by-side comparison for you guys so you can judge for yourself. Now, while there is no 3.5mm jack on the OnePlus 9RT, there's definitely support for Dolby Atmos, and I had a lot of fun listening to Weekend's new album Dawn FM, using my Shanling UA2 and the Moondrop Blessing 2. It was absolutely a great experience on the OnePlus 9RT. Overall, with the design, the OnePlus 9RT doesn't take too many risks and kind of plays it safe, just like the Samsung Galaxy S21 FE. Both are very similar to their previous iterations. For some odd reason, OnePlus has bumped up the size of the display from 6.55 inches on the 9R to 6.62 inches on the 9RT. Now, this is an E4 fluid AMOLED panel with support for Display P3 color gamut. Now, for the display purists out there, just like myself, inside the software, OnePlus has added a new cinematic mode which offers a really color accurate display. In fact, I use the phone just in this mode for the entire duration of my review. Apart from this, you get a super fast 120Hz refresh rate, which is tuned fantastically. Couple that with the 300Hz touch response rate, you get rapid responses when you touch the screen as well. Furthermore, using the Game Tools plugin, you can increase the touch response rate from 300Hz up to 600 Hz. I immediately did notice an improvement in performance while gaming in Call of Duty, which is my favorite game. But this is not like something that hasn't been done before. In fact, the iQOO 7 still continues to be my favorite phone for playing Call of Duty. Now, OnePlus claims an improved haptic feedback, but I didn't find it to be any better than the OnePlus Nord 2, which I feel has a much tighter tuning. Now, as for the in-display fingerprint scanner, there's no doubt about it, it continues to be fast as usual. Oddly, the OnePlus 9RT runs on Oxygen OS version 11.3 based on Android 11. Moreover, the phone only has the November 2021 security patch. OnePlus always used to be ahead of the curve when it came to software updates, but that doesn't seem to be the case anymore. And by now, we've established that Oxygen OS is starting to resemble Color OS a lot, and long-time fans don't seem to be happy about that move. That's not to say that, the current version of Oxygen OS is bad or anything. I still do like some of the unique features that you get with it, for example, the Zen mode or, the shelf. Having said that, it still doesn't feel like Oxygen OS of the recent past. All that said, all the other OEMs have also started catching up, and therefore their software implementation is also much cleaner, which includes Samsung, which offers One UI 4.0 with Android 12 on the Samsung Galaxy S21 FE. Evidently, Samsung is doing a better job here. Now coming to the cameras on the phone, the OnePlus 9RT has a Sony IMX 766 50 megapixel primary sensor, which OnePlus had used on the OnePlus 9 Pro's ultra-wide, if you remember. Now the secondary is a 16 megapixel ultra-wide, and the final camera is a 2 megapixel macro. Now on the front, you get a 16 megapixel selfie camera. On paper, this is a fairly decent camera setup, but the Samsung Galaxy S21 FE has an ace up its sleeve with the 3x telephoto camera. I took some pictures side by side as usual, and let's take a look at the comparison. Now what I noticed first was the 12 megapixel pixel bin samples from the OnePlus 9RT, and the basic 12 megapixel captures from the S21 FE are equally sharp around the center. But yes, the corner sharpness is slightly better on the 9RT. Now most general users won't really care though. These are very minute differences. Prima facie, you get a very similar level of details on both the primary sensors. Now as for the dynamic range performance, the Samsung Galaxy S21 FE offers a far better control over the highlights. You can see that the highlights are blown out in the OnePlus 9RT sample. But yes, the 9RT does bring out slightly more details from the darker shadow regions. Overall, I'd pick the Samsung Galaxy S21 FE for dynamic range. On the contrary, the color reproduction is better on the OnePlus 9RT, especially in the first sample, where you can see a cooler color temperature on the white car in the S21 FE sample. In the second sample, the reds are more accurate on the OnePlus 9RT. And moving on, the ultra-wide camera sample is much sharper on the 12 megapixel S21 FE in comparison to the 16 megapixel unit inside the OnePlus 9RT, further proving the theory that megapixels don't really matter. And while the 9RT has a dedicated macro camera, it's only a 2 megapixel unit. I used the 3x telephoto on the S21 FE to match the capture, and the camera obliged with a tack sharp focus. You get a much detailed macro as a result, which proves my theory that a good telephoto is always better than a macro camera. Now moving on to human subject pictures, in this shot of Arun, you will see that the 9RT captures a very warm image where the facial tones and the color of the shirt is off. Samsung really does a bang up job of capturing the right facial tone. Yes, it's not as detailed as the 9RT, but I'm sure anyone would gravitate towards the S21 FE here. In portrait mode, the Galaxy S21 FE has an advantage because it can also shoot portraits using the 3x optical zoom camera. Therefore, you get a more accurate size of the face because of the 76mm focal length. Also, portraits look way better on the S21 FE by default. You get much better facial tones, and the dynamics of the overall image is also much better. Now, unequivocally, whether you're shooting in even light or against the light, the Samsung Galaxy S21 FE captures far better selfies than the OnePlus 9RT. Just take a look at the samples to judge for yourself. Now the same is true for selfie portraits as well. The S21 FE easily takes better, more usable shots. Now considering the performance of the Galaxy S21 FE until now, I expected the low light performance to be better. But lo and behold, the OnePlus 9RT handily beats it. Granted, the images do look oversaturated, but they aren't as flat as the Galaxy S21 FE, which looks extremely dull and lifeless. Plus you get much sharper details in the OnePlus 9RT samples, whether in low light or with night mode turned on. Oh, also I forgot to mention that the lens attached to the main camera on the OnePlus 9RT is actually wider than the Galaxy S21 FE. Now the same is true for low light ultrawide samples. The OnePlus 9RT is just better. That said, low light selfies look crisper on the Galaxy S21 FE. The OnePlus 9RT does catch up when night mode is turned on, but it still cannot top the Galaxy S21 FE. Both the phones can shoot 4K 60fps video using the rear camera with stabilization, and both the footages here are equally detailed and sharp. Although the S21 FE is definitely better here with the color reproduction, the dynamic range, and of course the sound recording as well. You also get an extra stable mode on both the phones. The S21 FE uses electronic image stabilization for a tighter crop of the footage. While it is definitely more stable, it has a distinctive jellying effect when you pan fast. The 9RT definitely has a wider frame, but it doesn't offer great stabilization, therefore nullifying the whole reason for the existence of such a mode. And finally, when it comes to shooting videos using the front camera. So now I'm shooting a video using the front camera on both these phones, and already I can see that the S21 FE has an advantage with the fact that it can shoot in 4K as opposed to the OnePlus 9RT, which can shoot only in 1080p. So now I'm shooting a video using the front camera on both these phones, and already I can see that the S21 FE has an advantage with the fact that it can shoot in 4K as opposed to the OnePlus 9RT, which can shoot only in 1080p. By virtue of the fact that the Galaxy S21 FE can shoot 4K 60 FPS videos using the front camera, it just beats the OnePlus 9RT. The OnePlus 9RT's camera performance is not too shabby, but when pitted against the likes of something like the Galaxy S21 FE like we've done here, it does definitely lose out. The only assertive win for the 9RT in our camera test was the low light performance. So therefore you have to figure out your use case accordingly before you make a choice. Now, if there is one thing that the OnePlus 9RT aces, is the performance. You get the 1 generation old Snapdragon 888 system on chip, and our unit is the 12GB 256GB variant. Yup, and it is LPDDR5 RAM and UFS 3.1 storage. I don't even have to say it anymore. In daily usage, the phone just flies. And the benchmark scores, whether it is Antutu or Geekbench or 3D Mark, are better on the OnePlus 9RT with Snapdragon 888 compared to Exynos 2100 inside the Galaxy S21 FE. More importantly though, thanks to the improved vapor cooling chamber, the phone runs cool. I ran the intensive 3D Mark wildlife stress test, and the phone only touched a max of 42 degrees as opposed to 45 degrees on the Galaxy S21 FE. Plus, I played Call of Duty for 1 hour at a stretch and it didn't cross 42 degrees. Oh yeah, you can expect every single game to run buttery smooth. OnePlus has really upped the ante with gaming. Now couple that with the new Pro Gaming mode with advanced DND and ultimate mistouch prevention that blocks even access to the game tools, you just get fantastic gaming experience. In fact, the mistouch prevention is one of the things that I miss on an iPhone when I'm playing, because every single time I'm trying to play, a call will distract me. As for the network performance, you get support for 8 5G bands and 4G plus carrier aggregation as well. The call quality was fantastic, and OnePlus has improved the Wi-Fi reception quality by using triple antennas. Plus, there's support for Wi-Fi 6 as well. The OnePlus 9RT ticks all the boxes when it comes to network performance. The OnePlus 9RT has a 4500 mAh battery inside it, and warp charge 65T support as well. But of course, there's no wireless charging. Now, the phone easily lasts more than a day on a single charge. If you're using it moderately, and the battery life is better than the Galaxy S21 FE. Now, you can expect about 6 hours of screen on time, which is great for a phone with Snapdragon 888. Also, as usual, super fast charging. It charges from 0 to 100 in under 30 minutes. Now, the OnePlus 9RT is expected to start at Rs 40,000, and for that price, it is definitely a great upgrade over the OnePlus 9R. But any more, and then it becomes contentious. Anyway, the 9RT, just like the 9R, is made for gamers and performance enthusiasts. So to expect great cameras from it would not be right either, which was also visible from the camera samples that we showed you. You can consider the OnePlus 9RT, but I'd say wait for the Xiaomi 11T Pro, because that could be a great phone and we'd definitely be reviewing it as well. And if you can spend about 10K more, then you get the other phone in this video that we've shown, the Galaxy S21 FE. You get wireless charging, IP68 rating, better cameras, and of course the fact that it runs One UI 4.0 over Android 12, which is definitely a win-win. So what do you folks think of the OnePlus 9RT? Let me know in the comments section below. Until next time, keep tracking and stay safe.